One of the things that I've liked about PlayStation more recently than I ever even thought about before was their willingness to sort of adapt and change to the times, but still keeping people feeling pretty safe and confident in more traditional ways. And that's no more evident than with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Two different companies going two different paths. Microsoft seems to really want to throw the change in your face and put it all there at one time. Sony has been a lot more gradual with things. I mean, they seriously introduced cloud gaming at the beginning of this generation, but you never felt like it was like a hindrance or that it was going to replace gaming in general. Where on the Xbox side, you get the feeling that that's their end goal, that they really don't want to keep creating new hardware much after the Xbox Series X and S. And this news right here is more in line with why people are definitely going to choose PlayStation this generation. Huge news. Great stuff. I can't wait to cover it. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you all so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel. And you know what? It means a lot to me personally. It really does. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. The best way to support a small channel like mine, simply like a video, share it out, take a minute to consider subscribing, hit the bell so you're notified of everything as soon as it drops. I do daily video content, so that is something that I'm very much enjoying doing, and you guys seem to enjoy as well. Everything off the cuff, unscripted, as they say, just for fun. I give my own personal thoughts and opinions. None of that boring stuff. It's just I'm just being me, and so hopefully that comes across as quite genuine, as I only know how to be myself. With that being said, I wanted to jump right into this. So I kind of talked about something. Digital Foundry did a couple videos on the NVIDIA RTX situation, those new PC. And I'm not a PC person at all, but they do talk about consoles a bit in here, in particular like the Xbox Series X and of course, like with this, the PlayStation 5. Now, one of the more interesting parts is a lot of Xbox fans were going on and on about power, about T-flops, and now with the advent of these new cards, all that T-flop talk has kind of gone by the wayside. And I know, console is different than PC, and PC is different than console. And I get that. I get that argument far more for PlayStation, because PlayStation doesn't put their games on PC day and date, and probably won't put their games on PC an entire generation. I can foresee them maybe putting a few PlayStation 4 games on PC this upcoming generation. Like, it's very smart. You put Horizon Zero Dawn on PC before Horizon Zero Dawn 2 comes out. Maybe you get some people to buy a PlayStation 5. And I could also see like God of War working like that. You put God of War out maybe a year before God of War comes to the PS5, and you get people to bite on that as well because they see how awesome it is, and they pick up a PS5 to play these games. So I really respect that, and I understand that completely, and I think that's very smart business. Even some that maybe play on PC and PS5 would maybe double dip because the games are so good, and I think that's a very smart decision. With that being said, Digital Foundry was talking about how these new cards pretty much really put a big strain on what Microsoft is trying to showcase, because especially if the price that was leaked for the Xbox Series X of $599 is actually turning out to be the price, well, you have a console that's more expensive than the card itself. And you might go, well, you need a lot of other parts for that. That's true. But you also have to keep in mind, if you play Xbox and you play online, let's say you just want to buy an Xbox to play Fortnite, Apex Legends, and PUBG or whatever, okay? Or Call of Duty, Warzone, right? Like 3 out of those 4 are free-to-play games. But you know what? They're not free-to-play on Xbox. You literally have to either pay either $100 a year for live, $120 a year for live, or $180 for a year live with Ultimate Game Pass. They've taken away the option to do the $60 for a year of live. So free-to-play games aren't free-to-play on Xbox Live. You still have to pay. So if you wanted to buy that, and let's just say you buy Xbox Series X for $599. Let's just say that for the sake of this. I'm not saying that I think it's going to be that price. I'm saying for the sake of this argument, let's just say it's $600. Then for the next 5 years, let's say you go easy and you just want to buy gold for the next 5 years, $100 a year. Okay, let's just say you go that route, the $10 a month. You're looking at over $1,100, almost $1,200 just for that. Okay. You could definitely use these cards like the 3070. You could use that and build a computer PC that's going to play games better than the Series X, not have to pay to play online, and you're going to be able to get games cheaper than ever, to be able to play it that way. So I do, in a sense, see how these things are in direct competition with what Microsoft is trying to do, and that is a bit unfortunate. For me personally, I feel like PlayStation has things a lot more figured out, and they obviously, have a lot more to work with because they've been in it a little bit longer than Microsoft. For some reason, Microsoft still really seems very corporate when you think about things. Like, their whole strategy seems like it's a big corporate strategy, and, the fact of the matter is, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense, and I get that, but you also have to sometimes believe in your company. You have to and let them kind of do their thing, and you also have to listen to the fans, right? The fact that people aren't listening to fans here is absolutely a travesty. I cannot believe how Microsoft has failed to listen to fans. Not only have they failed to listen to fans, but they've really failed to listen to anybody in the hardcore gaming circle, and it's a little bit ridiculous. But going back to this video, which of course I'm going to link in the description. You know me, link everything, Mr. Link It. I'm going to link it because they're talking about what these things mean for the consoles, right? Now, I'm going to be honest. It sounds like to me the Xbox Series X, and because they have an Xbox Series S, they're releasing a mid-gen refresh and a lower tier at the same time, okay? Which means it's probably not likely that they're going to release a mid-gen refresh of the Xbox Series X, okay? The way that they did with the Xbox One X. Think about that. The Xbox One X came out 4 years after the Xbox One. Really quite a good console, but it lacked content. Sounds familiar, right? Like, fast forward 3 years later, and they still lacks content. But, that's what Microsoft, they're decided to go a little bit different route. It seems like they're releasing their high-end and their low-end sort of at the same time. Now, they're hinting in this video right here that it's all very much a possibility and seems likely that the PlayStation 5 will get some kind of pro upgrade, because if you look at the way Sony's doing things, they're releasing a PS5 and a digital version. So they're both the same console, basically, right? One's digital, one's not, but they both have the same power, the same specs, and everything like that. Just one has a 4K Blu-ray drive and one doesn't, which, again, hopefully that's going to save some people some money this holiday season. But at the end of the day, it's the same console. Now, in a few years, we'll probably see PSVR 2, and obviously they might have a newer, more powerful console ready to go by then to help accompany that, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And I also feel like Sony is almost a lock to do this, and they kind of agree with it here, and I'm going to, like I said, I will link this so you can check it out. What would that mean for Microsoft in the long term, right? Look, Microsoft is kind of locked into this situation that they're in now. As it stands, this console, the Xbox Series X, is launching in November of 2020, and most of their games aren't going to be the Avowed, Fable, Forza, Hellblade. These games, State of Decay 3 isn't even in production yet. Everwild, that game, they don't even know the gameplay yet. You're looking at 2023, 2024, somewhere around there before these games are released. So if they were to do a mid-gen refresh, you're talking about probably 2023, 2024 for that. And literally, it would make the Xbox Series X even more pointless than it is right now, because there is literally no point to the Xbox Series X. They have no AAA first-party exclusives coming. Maybe none until the end of next year when Halo launches. That could even be pushed into 2022. We don't know how much longer these developers have to work from home, but Halo did look like a complete and utter mess. And so with that being said, if Sony were to come out saying 2023 with a mid-gen refresh, how big of a blow would that be to Microsoft? Just think about that, because Sony's already having games, but then they would have the power narrative as well, which is sort of what they're alluding to here. Like, you don't think that these companies knew that these powerful new cards were coming out? Like, it was kind of obvious that PC wouldn't stand pat, and, Sony originally came out with the PlayStation 4 Pro to, quote, compete with PC gamers, because what was happening was people were kind of getting tired of not having the graphical improvements and things like that, and so the Pro, the Xbox One X come out. It helps people kind of stay in that ecosystem, right? Microsoft sort of is at a different kind of idea now, since they fully embrace the PC side of things, and maybe even more so, and back it with their games and finances more than they do the actual console. this could be a problem going forward, but we'll have to see how that sort of plays out. But with them, Digital Foundry basically saying, hey, we do think that with the invention of these cards, we could see much cheaper prices in a couple years and might see mid-gen upgrades of the PlayStation 5. That blows my mind. I think that would be a very smart move since they're only coming out with basically the one SKU right now. I mean, I know there's two SKUs, but it's the same power. Unlike the Xbox Series S and the X, those are two different things. I think it's very smart. I'm going to link it. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinion. Do you think Sony would absolutely obliterate Microsoft if they come out with a mid-gen refresh? Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to watch my videos. Rack them up. Game on, my friends. Game on. As always, Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.